Welcome back to Unlock Your Creative Curiosity with Tammy Collins. This is where we explore, experiment, evolve, express, and evoke our creative interests. Today we're jumping in with a new series around doodling. Here's a sneak peek at what's happening today. Okay, so what the inspiration for today comes from my vision journal. So I don't do a vision board, I do a vision journal, and this is a quick sneak peek at that, but that's not what this video is about today. Today it's about that turquoise rose, and that happened accidentally, and I really loved it, and I want to explore it a little more. And I had this idea to do it with tissue paper first, and I'm hedging here because I really am inspired to use this silver tissue paper. I might regret it, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going with this tissue paper first. I'm crinkling it up. I want it nice and wrinkly, and I'm going to glue it down. I am just getting back from traveling, and I'm out of some supplies, and so I never let that stop me. I'm going to improvise. I'm using some Elmer's glue. I'm going to put a little bit of water on the brush, and I'm going to get that spread around to get the tissue paper down onto my paper. This is just a Bristol paper. I believe it's 100 pound, like a mixed medium. It's a smooth surface. And I'm just getting the glue spread around. I apologize. I don't know why my camera doesn't want to focus here. So just Elmer's glue. Normally I would use a Mod Podge or a matte medium, but today this is what I have, so we're going to run with it. So I'm getting it in position and stuck down. I want this to be the first layer of this piece. We're going to use a bunch of different things here. I did that rose on a doodle, and I really loved it, and I repeated the process also one other time as a pink one, and I'm just loving it, and I want to explore it more. When I discover something I really like, I try it many different ways, and I just keep pushing it and seeing where it goes. Okay, so now I'm just using a paper towel here to just kind of help. I want to make sure we're kind of stuck down enough. And accidentally ripped it, of course, because I'm super impatient and I never want to wait for anything to dry. So I'm just taking off a little bit of the bulk there and using that for a little patch piece. I'm just going to rip the edges and get it stuck down. Not looking for perfection here, you know, perfectly imperfect. That's how we roll. So we're just going to get it glued down. I've been away for a few days and I'm really anxious to getting back to creating. But while that's drying, we're going to figure out our color scheme here. And today's video is really interesting because it goes terribly wrong. And that's really, in a way, great, because that's kind of what this channel is all about. I'm just doing an experiment just like anyone else would, and sometimes things don't go perfectly. And so that was captured in this video. The original rose that I did was done with Tombow markers and didn't have tissue paper, so the tissue paper was a new element, and it created a new set of challenges. So right now I'm just sort of playing with my colors and figuring out what I want to do. Now I'm getting my swatch book. We swatched the Tombow markers. If you want to see that video, you can certainly find that in my list of videos. I'll link that in the comments. But I'm just swatching and seeing how the colors look when they're wet and what I want to do here. So I know I'm going to use my Posca markers. That's just black. This is like a black Tombow. So these are my key supplies. But then I'm realizing I think I want to add in maybe some metallic and some gray. Not sure how that's going to work out, but it's something I'm feeling pulled to try. I thought it might work with the sort of silver tissue paper. So now I'm trying to figure out if I want to use the metallic green or the blue. I've got a gray and a silver here that I'm playing with. I'm having some challenges with Jude, my Australian Shepherd. She's missed me and she's dropping the ball on my table here as I'm filming, which you may see it soon at some point. And she's sitting in the background here trying to be very patient, waiting for me to finish my video. But you might hear her chewing on her ball. So this green or gray that I want to use isn't primed, so what I'm doing here is priming it. Okay, so now I think I've narrowed it down, but I'm just going to do a clean swatch just to see these all together to make sure that I'm right. And I'm taking a bit of time to do this here because I'm just trying to show you my process. I didn't, I don't start with any preconceived plan of what I'm doing. I'm just gathering the materials and the colors that I'm pulled to use. Okay, so this is dried a little bit and we're going to come back. Right now I'm just going to use a blade and take off some of that excess material that's over the tape. Oh, see, there's the ball. If you notice, she dropped the ball onto the... All right, so this is a little bit fidgety. Of course, it probably could be much drier. I am terribly impatient, but that's the real life. That's the way it goes. So I'm just trying to get a somewhat of a clean edge. It doesn't need to be perfect. I just want to remove that bulk so it doesn't get in the way of the drawing. I'll tell you, Jude is really being quite the annoyance over here. She really wants me to go. I told her we would go for a WALK after I was done working, and she is just impatient. Okay, so I think we're about ready. I'm going to stick a couple more pieces of tape on here just to ensure that it's sort of down because I put water with the Elmer's glue on the paper. The paper isn't totally dry and it's a bit warped, so I don't want that to interfere. So I'm just getting it stuck down a little bit more. Okay, so this is basically just a doodle exercise that I do. I use my left hand because I want it, in my case, that's the non-dominant hand, and I want less control over the spiral that I will make here. I want it to be very loose and non-conforming, and I don't want it anywhere near to perfect. So now I'll switch back to my other hand and I'll basically just loosely overlap that line just to give it, these are almost like the edges of the rose, if you will, and they'll create almost like a beautiful lip just by themselves, just by itself by doing this exercise. So I'm really loving this silver tissue paper. I'm really loving the texture of what it's doing. I feel like it's too specific, so I'm just coming back in and I'm putting in a few random areas just to sort of cut it off to make it more rose-like, if you will. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Tombow and I'm going to create the darkest color as if it were the inside of the rose. And I'm going to work my way out in colors. And as you'll see, this kind of backfires on me. It doesn't work as well as it did in my original 2 exercises on just plain white paper. This is on tissue paper, which is also metallic and shiny, so this doesn't go quite so well. So, but you'll see, and I think it goes into a new direction, and it creates a new experiment, and I really love it. So anyway, that's what this whole channel is about, trying things, figuring out what we like and what we don't like. So here I am just putting in the darkest color of Tombow. If you think of a rose petal as you're going inward to the rose, you know, it would get darker towards the bottom of it, and as it comes to the top of the petals, it would get lighter, and that's really what I'm doing here. I'm adding a little bit of water, which, by the way, I think works phenomenally on this tissue paper with the Tombow. I really love what's happening there. So I'm getting really excited at this point. I'm really liking how it's going. But it doesn't continue that way. And that's what I really want you to see, and I really want you to kind of get from this channel, is that I didn't go in with any other intention except to do another rose and add in some new elements that may make a different outcome. And I didn't like where it headed. And so I had to pivot in the middle and make a change. And that led to a completely random new outcome. So now I'm just going to add the water in to get that. I want that to spread out a little bit and to be a little bit looser, and so that it'll blend better. And I have to keep picking up the board here because the silver shininess of the paper is really complicating the glare for me to see what I'm doing. And so I kind of have to keep picking it up, which I'm hoping that doesn't affect your view too much. So now I will come back with, I had 3 colors that I began with, a sort of a dark, a medium, and a light. And now I'm going to put the medium one in and sort of blend it out, just like the rose petal effect, as it would get darker as you go more deeper into the center of the flower. And the idea here is that this is a very abstract version of a rose. It's a great exercise for just getting your creative juices flowing. And in this particular case, this didn't go as planned. And I had to improvise, which is part of the beauty of it. Boy, she's really being quite Jude. I apologize for that. She's going to be making all kinds of racket today. She's at my feet, just continuously dropping the ball. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video and see how this project goes along. I will be pausing and skipping forward a little bit here and there just to help keep it entertaining so it doesn't get too boring. I realize I just grabbed the wrong color there. So, but if you're enjoying what you're seeing, please like and subscribe to stay tuned for other creative explorations. you're already subscribed and you've been watching some of my videos and you've come back, thank you. I appreciate you. I hope you're finding some inspiration. If you're new, welcome. I hope you enjoy this. My goal is to just share my creative process and what the things that I do to help keep exploring my creativity. All right, so we have the two colors in pretty well here at this point, and I'm really beginning to realize that I don't think this is going to go the way I intended it to go. So now I'm adding in the third lightest color, and we're just going to blend that out, and I'm going to have to come up with a new plan is what I'm realizing here at this point. It may have continued to work this way, I'm not sure, but it just wasn't feeling quite right. But I think you get the gist of the idea, right? If you could repeat this on just regular paper, and you would probably be fine at this point and really enjoying the result. That's the interesting thing, though, right? Because I'm showing you a different way than maybe a traditional application would have been done. And so you're learning through me what works about this and what doesn't work, or what maybe you would have tried differently, or maybe you want to try the same thing. But it would be great to try it on paper first and then experiment maybe with something new. So I'm trying to darken it up a little bit. I just don't think I'm getting the drama that I wanted or that I have in my original variation. So I'm just exploring right now. I don't really know exactly what I want to do to fix this, or what I want to do, maybe not to fix it, but to enhance it to get the look I'm after. And you may you may think that this already looks great, and it's not that it doesn't look great. It's just that it's not settled right with me and what I was looking for. So I'm thinking that I'm going to have to add in some completely new and different elements, and so that's what we'll move into. I'll be using Posca. I'll start with the dark gray that I had, and I'm just going to put in almost like shadowing, and I'm just gonna kind of darken the main line there, and then I'll come back and sort of do some veining almost. I guess that's the best word. Actually it'll just be lines really, and I'm going to keep it loose and simple. I want this to still stay abstract. That's my goal here. I don't want this to be really specific. So this also took a lot longer than I originally anticipated. I like to try to keep my creative time to about an hour. So what I did is I sort of showed you the technique I was going to use. I paused the video while I continued the rest of that throughout the creation. And then when I went to the next step, I resumed the video and showed you a part of that and then paused it again. So see right here, I'm just sort of adding in almost like shadowing with this marker. And I'm just going to do this all the way around the entire, all those lines I just created. And really at this point, I don't know where I want to go with this. This is a complete experiment at this point. Okay, so see, I've finished. I jumped ahead. I finished that whole section. And now I'm jumping in with a new color. And I'm going to kind of repeat the same process. I'm trying to use Tombow first in between, and it just isn't working. It just isn't, I don't like the result. So I end up scrapping the Tombow here and moving on to some Posca markers in similar colors. It just isn't giving me the effect I'm after. And I really think it's this shiny, this silver tissue paper. So if you want to recreate the same thing, I would recommend just going with like a white tissue paper on white paper, or even an ivory or off-white tissue paper without any kind of metallic or shiny nature to it. And I think you would be fine. Okay, so I've jumped ahead and I'm going, okay, let's move in a new direction. I'm now using some Posca markers. I pulled a couple of similar shades and I'm just going to almost start over. I'm adding in some color in between the gray just to help with the transition. And I'm going to follow that all the way around. I'm keeping it really abstract, non-specific. I'm not overthinking placement. The goal is to just really start almost basically redo what I did, but now in the Posca. So we're just getting in the base color basically. It's funny because at this point I'm like, oh, I'm recording this. Of course, this would go wrong. This isn't working out the way I thought. And then I'm kind of like, wait a second. That's the whole point. So now I finished that whole second color there. And now I'm coming in with this is like a dark navy color. It's a Posca marker and it's called Blue Navy or Navy Blue because I just feel that it needed a punch of drama that it just didn't have. The dark gray wasn't cutting it. So I'm just bringing in this navy blue. But I'm thinking at this point, wow, this is going terribly wrong and I don't know if I'm going to like this. And I realized at that point that it doesn't matter if I like it or not. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to show you how I did this creation. Whether it comes out great or not isn't really the point. And I think that's really the biggest point that, many creatives struggle with. One of the things I always struggled with was just getting started because I wasn't sure what I wanted to create. And so it kind of kept me stalled. And I found that getting out a piece of paper and taping the paper onto the board was almost like an act of breaking the fear of starting, right? Because now it's like I started. The paper's out, it's taped down. Well, maybe now I'll just pick some colors, and then I pick some colors. And so each one of those tiny little actions works towards a creation, and just focus on those little tiny actions. Okay, so we finished with the navy blue, and so now I'm coming in with this is a black Posca, and I just really want to amp up that crease line, if you will. And I'm just going to go trace all around that. I'm keeping it super loose. I don't want it really specific. I just wanted a little bit more dramatic of a line there to happen. I'll tell you though, it felt really good to get back into creating. We had to do some traveling and I was away. You had to travel out of state, and so I haven't been able to create for like 6 days. And so I was very anxious about getting back into it today. Not because I didn't want to do it or just because I was excited. So there was sort of that anxiety or anxiousness around the excitement of it. Okay, so now I'm just going to, I want to create sort of a gradation coming out of each of the petals. So I have a lighter turquoise here that I'm going to put in. I believe this one is aqua green. that I'm putting in now. And so same thing, I'm just going to go around this entire sort of spiral circle and get that in. And then we're going to add in a couple of other colors and just try to blend it out and finish it off. Again, I'm keeping it really loose and specific. You can see I'm just, of course, I've sped this video up slightly, but I'm just, I'm just putting in, they're just lines. There's no, I'm not getting super specific. Okay, so we finished up with that color. So now I'm going to come in with one more color. And this is a Posca light blue. And I'm starting to get the gradation that I was after. It's still fitting within the abstract nature of what I wanted. And we're going to do this one, same thing all the way around. It's really kind of great because you're really getting to see this in the raw nature of it. It's almost as if you were sitting here with me and you would see the almost, it's not a mistake, but it's just a creation that took a different turn than anticipated. And so problem solving or finding a new direction is really what's happening here. And that's really what creativity is all about. And then I realized I missed a row there with the other color, so I had to come back. So we will repeat this process with a couple other things. I won't keep it, I'll jump ahead a little bit so that it's not too bad. I just want you to understand what I'm doing here. And I did this same process actually with a bunch of colors. We'll come in with some white. We'll also come in with some metallic, that metallic blue that we originally wanted to incorporate. We'll add that in as well. We'll add some white and we'll crisp up our petal, the tips of our petals. So now I'm just going to bring in a little bit of white here. I'm doing this because I want to, I want the drama there a little bit between the color. I want it to blend a little bit. So I'm going to try the white in here now. Let's just see how this works. If this is going to do what I want. My pen's just getting primed up. Yeah, yep, I'm loving that. I'm loving how that's just, it seems like it was just that extra piece that it needed there. So now I'll do that same process all the way around again. What do you think though? Do you like the abstract nature of where this ended up going? Did you try it? Did you try it just on the paper without, a metallic? Okay, I really do like the white in here. I think that added a little bit of almost like a blending that it needed. I'm just going to finish that around. I think tomorrow I'm going to do a flip through of a couple of journals that I have, and I went through them today looking for the pink one of these, which I haven't found yet at this point. If you don't know, I'm in a tiny house, so it's a bit challenging. So right now I'm adding in white because I want sort of the edge or the tip of these petals of this rose or flower to almost have sort of a highlighted effect. So I'm just adding in some white to act as white, as if light were hitting them. I've gotten some requests for some specific videos, one in particular around making the DIY journals from a magazine. So I'll be doing that video soon. So be sure to subscribe and follow along. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can get notified when my videos come out. I try to do at least 2 a week. My goal is 3. I create every day, so I'm recording my creation process. Sometimes my creative process isn't something that's recordable because it's too large or too big or outside or whatever the case may be. So I try to do 2 to 3 a week. Okay, so this is coming together. I think there's some hope for it. I'm putting in a little bit of silver here. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not sure I'm loving it, so I just sort of hit a few edges. I was hoping for, you can't see it in the video. I'm noticing that with the metallics, they're much harder to see their sparkle. But in real life, that silver really gives a little bit of a sparkle, so it's nice. And then I just cleaning up a little bit of white because sometimes the white is a little smeary, so sometimes it needs a little bit more. So I'm just hitting that again. And now I'm going to take the metallic blue and I just want to see what happens if I just add a few of those in there. And I do. I really love how this just sort of tied it all together. I apologize. I don't know how well the metallic shows up on the video, but this really made a nice little pop here. In person, framed and hanging on the wall, you would really grasp the power of that metallic. It's just a tiny bit. So overall, this was a creative experiment that took a turn, and I didn't know where that turn was going to go. I was really glad that got recorded, and you could see that. That was the whole point of this video, and all the videos I do really is to just show the creative process and to remind you that things are perfectly imperfect. When you're creating, you don't always know where something's going to go. It's the experimenting and the playing of the journey that's important. This really was quite a bugger to rip this tape off here. But just using a knife, and I'm trying to follow along with the tape just to kind of get it off. Didn't go quite as smoothly as I had planned, but that's okay. The reason that I like to leave this lip here is because it also helps with framing. It'll help make a nice the ability to mat it nicely. But be sure to follow along if you're enjoying what's happening. Please feel free to let me know and share your thoughts. I love to hear what you think and how it worked for you, what you thought about it. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow along. Always happy to hear what the impact of my work is, and I would really love to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed this creative exploration with Tammy Collins, where we explore, experiment, evolve, express, and evoke emotion through our creativity. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't be shy. Tell me in the comments what you like, what you didn't like, what other things you would love to see me do.